Hi, guys. Some of you are watching this on video. Why am I sitting like this? Hi, guys. I'm definitely keeping that part in. This is going to be the first YouTube version of Safe Space. I don't even know what to call it, right? YouTube edition, special edition. This podcast is now going to be uploaded to YouTube every single week. So if you are like me and you don't really love to just listen to someone talk to you, funny because I made a career out of that as a therapist. But if you want to actually like watch a video and connect a little bit more and feel like you're a part of the show, watch it on YouTube. This is going to be a really great place for you to connect, to feel like safe space is a safe space for you. And it's not just this voice in your head. Obviously, we want our head to feel like a safe space too, but sometimes we're not always that good at that. So let's dive into this week's episode. One of you asked, can yoga heal trauma? The short answer is no. Anything in isolation cannot heal trauma. I, as a relational therapist, also think about what does it mean to actually heal from trauma? Can we first define heal, right? To me, healed means I can get through my day to day without feeling like there are any barriers to it. I can get through the day to day without feeling sluggish or exhausted or without my thoughts racing. If you define healing differently, that's up to you, right? You get to decide that. I also don't think you ever fully heal, right? I think trauma is something that you learn to live with instead of overcome. We talk about that a lot in grief, in therapy. You don't move past the grief, right? You can never just move on from loss. It's impossible. So instead, you learn to live with it, right? You create space for the grief. You create space for the loss so that it exists within you and it no longer causes distress. Now, yoga and movement and somatic practices are so incredibly good for healing. I can't even begin to stress enough how good it is. Traditional talk therapy is not going to be your best friend if you've experienced trauma. Talk therapy alone works really well for some people and doesn't work at all for others. The more complex some things are, the more nuanced things are, the more nuanced your therapy and your healing journey needs to actually be. Before I became a therapist, I, like most people after a breakup, started running half marathons. And I don't know what the breakup to half marathon pipeline is, but there's definitely one there. I started training and I would run and I would run and I would run. And the first 3 miles were always the hardest. And then after that, you just kick into autopilot and you just put foot in front of foot and you're feeling the pavement beneath your feet and you're moving. And while you're moving, you're thinking. Running helped me to calm the thoughts in my head so that they were no longer chattering away. Running helped me to process one of the most difficult experiences in my entire life. I was in an abusive relationship and then we broke up. I moved to Italy and then he committed suicide. It's pretty dark, pretty dreary. I get that. I couldn't cope with everything that I had experienced, so instead I ran. And whether I was running away from my trauma or not, who's to say? Probably, yeah. But as a therapist now, and especially a therapist who's trained in EMDR, I think about how I EMDR'd myself, right? I love saying that I EMDR'd myself. EMDR, eye movement, desensitization, reprocessing. It is the act of bringing the unconscious or the subconscious to the conscious level and reprocessing it. So when we experience trauma in real time, I love to use this analogy of that episode of SpongeBob where everything's on fire and he's just like throwing things out of the file cabinets and everything's burning. Trauma is the exact same. Inside of your body, you can only process so much in real time when everything is on fire. And so if you can't process something, it remains unprocessed as it's getting filed away. If you are constantly filing unprocessed trauma, right? For example, if you live in a constant state of hyperactivity or hypervigilance, then you are going to store too many unnecessary things and your body's going to hold on to it. If we can't learn to regulate our nervous system, right, that's also why healing from trauma is not just one process in isolation. It's a combination of so many different therapeutic modalities and habits and lifestyle changes. If you can't learn to regulate your nervous system on a daily basis, then you will never heal from trauma, because you will continue to experience trauma in real time and store it in its unprocessed form for life until you learn to regulate your nervous system. So I joke that when I was running, I was EMDR myself, because EMDR, it works with bilateral movements. So maybe your eyes are moving back and forth in your head, or maybe you're tapping and your taps are going across midline. It's this bilateral process that mimics what's happening actually during REM sleep. So if you, let's say you slept with your eyes open, creepy, but envision it. When you hit REM sleep, your eyes are moving back and forth from side to side in your head. This is your body processing all of the information that it took in during that day. So think about the next morning when you have a really, really rough night. Maybe you don't sleep through the night. Maybe you don't hit REM sleep. You're going to feel that, right? And you might have memory gaps from the day before. And that makes sense, right? If you're processing information at night, but you don't get a good night's sleep, no bueno, no bueno at all. So yoga in isolation, it's not going to heal your trauma. It's going to help you move things through the body. It's going to help release stored tension. It's going to help you reprocess difficult memories that were stored in their unprocessed form. And it's going to help you connect and attune more to your body. When we experience trauma, our bodies respond in so many different ways, right? A lot of trauma informs chronic pain and neurodegenerative diseases and all of these chronic illnesses that we suffer with all the time, especially in the US. And you look at the economy and you look at capitalism and you look at this drive that we're all forced to go, 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 and do, and we never stop. We never once take a break, breathe, and regulate. And if we did do that, what would be different? We'd be healthier, we'd be happier, we'd have an entirely different society. Maybe we'd connect more, right? Maybe we'd be more social. Maybe we'd have motivation and inspiration to drive really meaningful change in our culture, in our communities, and in the world. So no, yoga is not going to heal your trauma. Hate to break it to you, but it's a really great addition to all of the other work that you're doing, to talk therapy, to cognitive behavioral therapy, to daily lifestyle changes and habits, to your social support and your support system, to your daily nervous system regulation practices. Anyone who's in therapy or anyone who's experiencing difficulties with mental health, you need to tackle it as a lifestyle problem. It's not a problem in isolation. It is the same as going to the gym. If you are only exercising and lifting weights in the same way every single week, then you are only improving that one isolated group of muscles. But if you are going to the gym and you're mixing up your workouts and then you're walking or you're running and then you're doing yoga and you're, rowing, whatever it is that you're doing, all of that combined makes you a healthier, happier, and stronger being all across the board. That's what healing is. Good luck.